Good morning my dear students, welcome back to your online class. And in previous class we have learned about other modes of nutrition in plants, that is heterotropic mode of nutrition in case of parasitic plants that we have learned in case of mudbell. Okay, then the second we have learned about insectivorous plants. Okay, and in parasitic plant we have seen there is a host parasite relationship. Okay, parasites that resides on the host body. Okay, and in insectivorous plants we have seen some plants like pitcher plants, Venus flytrap, and why they are destined to such a heterotrophic mode of nutrition and why they are destined for insect trapping. Okay, and we have already learned another mode of nutrition that is known as Ceptotropic mode of nutrition, and the organisms they are called Ceptotrophs. They feed on dead decaying organic matter. So we have seen how they can be grown easily, their favorable condition, hot and humid condition, and where they grown. Okay, so we have already seen these all things. Now today we will discuss about another type of relationship that is known as symbiosis. Okay, symbiosis. So everyone open your book, page number 7. Okay, 7. So some organisms they live together and share their food and shelter with each other, so they can be interdependent with each other. So they are interdependent on each other and they have a mutual relationship between them. So such relationship is known as symbiosis. Symbiosis. Okay. So what is symbiosis? Symbiosis is such a relationship or mutual relationship between two organisms where they are interdependent on each other by means of food, shelter and whatever they need. Okay, there are two organisms, they are interdependent on each other and they have a mutual relationship so that they are benefited from each other. Okay, you got this point? What is symbiosis, everyone? Now I will give you some examples of symbiosis. There are certain fungi that lives in the roots of some plants. Okay, that lives in the roots of some plants, and they are having the symbiotic relationship with those roots of those plants. So first example I am going to give you some fungi, and in another case roots of some plants. Okay, now how they are in a symbiosis or symbiotic relationship. Okay, for example, as fungi live inside the roots of the plants, so roots provide shelter to those fungi, and in return fungi provide something to the plants. What are those plants? The plants. Sorry. This type of relationship. So for example, certain fungi that live inside the roots of the plants. Okay, so roots provide shelter to fungi, and the plants of those roots that provide nutrients to the fungus, and in return, and these fungi roots of these plants also provide shelter, then nutrients to the fungi, and in return fungi, what they do? Fungi provides water and some nutrients. Okay, water and nutrients. So we can say that fungi and roots of some plants, they are in a symbiotic relationship. Roots of some plants, here you can write roots of plant. Okay, so fungi, these roots of plants or the plants provide shelter and nutrient to the fungi, and in return fungi provides water and nutrients to the plant. Now everyone understood this? What is this symbiotic relationship between these two organisms? Okay, I am giving side, please you can write this. So such is an example of symbiotic relationship, fungi and roots of plants. Okay, Now I am going to rub this portion. Everyone please copy this first. I am rubbing this portion. Now the second example of symbiosis, that the name of a new organism, that is known as lichen. Second example of symbiosis, that is lichen. Now what is this lichen? Lichen. Lichens is such a that is a actually relationship between two organisms. Lichen is a relationship. Lichen is the association, mutual association or relationship between two organisms. Here lichen is the organisms. Lichens is the organisms where two partners are there. One is chlorophyll containing partner and another is fungus. So one partner chlorophyll containing, that is known as alga, and another partner that is known as fungus. Okay, so this lichen having two partner, one is alga, another is fungus, or algae or fungi you can say. Okay, so they lives together. So in organisms like lichen, their both partner including this alga and fungus, they lives together and form a relationship that is known as symbiotic relationships. Now how they live together? They must be benefited from each other. I have told you, as this is an example of symbiosis. So the fungus provides shelter, water and mineral to the algae. So fungus provide shelter, water and minerals to the algae. In return, algae provides food to fungus. As algae have chlorophyll, so they can make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. So algae or alga provide food for fungus. Okay, so alga prepares and provides food to the fungus. So we can say that in organisms like lichens, there is a chlorophyll containing partner called algae or alga, and alga in singular form, and another partner that is fungus. They are in mutual relationship or symbiotic relationship. How alga is benefited from fungus? Fungus provides shelter, water and minerals to the alga. In return, alga provides, means by the process of photosynthesis, as they have chlorophyll, they can prepare their food, so they provide food to fungus. Now everyone understood? Everyone understood? Ananya, note down this one. Yes, study. No need to write in the chat box. Please note down. No problem, students. Okay, I am giving side. You can write. Note it first. Nothing is outside from your book. These all things are written in your book only. Okay, so I am rubbing this portion. Now we will come to the last subtopic from this chapter, that is how nutrients are replenished in the soil. Now what do you mean by replenished? What do you mean by replenished? Replenished means, what do you mean by replenished? Yes, say. Any one of you can say this. What is replenished? Can anyone say? Okay, Vinayak. What do you mean by replenished? what do you mean by replenished? Means again regaining. Okay? Yes. I have not asked that how nutrients in the soils are replenished. I have just asked what do you mean by replenished. As you know, the nutrients in the soil are replenished by adding fertilizer and manure. And what is the difference between fertilizer and manure? Can anyone say what is the difference between fertilizer and manure? Please tell me what is the basic difference between fertilizer and manure? Right, first, what is natural among this manure and fertilizer? And which is more beneficial to plants among manures and fertilizer? You have to say, you have to write it in that box. Yes, manures are organic substances that are obtained from decomposition of vegetables, animal waste. Very good, Choita. And fertilizers are inorganic substances. These are manufactured in factories, and manures are relatively less rich in plant nutrients, but they only remove general deficiency of the soil. And manures also increase fertility of the soil. Yes, yes, very good, Shubhajit. So we have got this point. Now, so how the nutrients are replenished in the soil, that I have asked you, no? So I have told you by adding fertilizer and manure, and that contains plants nutrients and minerals like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, these all. Okay, so nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. Nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. Yes. These are called NPK. These are chemical formula of this nitrogen, phosphorus and potassium. There is a name of a fertilizer known as NPK. So that fertilizer contains this nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium. There are so many fertilizer, IR 36, okay, so many fertilizers are there. Okay, now another way to replenish soil to grow leguminous crops, for example grams, peas, pulses, etc. So first we can replenish this by adding manure and fertilizer, and second by growing leguminous plants. As I have told you in previous class that leguminous plants, in the root nodules of leguminous plants like pulses, bean, peas, these all are under leguminous plants. The root nodules of leguminous plants contain some nitrogen fixing bacteria known as rhizobium, azotobacter, etc. So these nitrogen fixing bacteria actually they transferred they made the nitrogen into soluble form. Okay, they help to change of gaseous form of nitrogen into soluble form or nitrate form, so that nitrate form of nitrogen can be utilized by the plants with the help of those nitrogen fixing bacteria. Okay, so we can say that when there is yes, so we can say that plants which provides food, shelter to the bacteria, those nitrogen fixing bacteria, and in another way those bacteria are fixing nitrogen. So we can say the relationship between nitrogen fixing bacteria and leguminous plants is also a symbiotic relationship. In this case we can say there is a symbiotic relationship between leguminous plant and leguminous plant and nitrogen fixing bacteria. How we can say N2 fixing or nitrogen fixing bacteria? Like example, rhizobium. Okay, so how they are in a symbiotic relationship as leguminous plants that provides shelter, food or nutrients for those nitrogen fixing bacteria. In return they are fixing nitrogen. Okay, they are fixing nitrogen into its soluble form, that is nitrate. Everyone understood what I have written now? Everyone understood? Anyone having any problem? You can note it in your copy. Okay? So I have told you that by two ways the nutrients are replenished in the soil. So the second way that I have told, that was this leguminous plants. By growing so many leguminous plants over a field, as there is a symbiotic relationship between these leguminous plants and nitrogen fixing bacteria, and this association is the great significance for farmers. Now what is the great significance for the farmers? How this association help a lot for farmers? They actually reduce the expenditure of farmers. Okay, how? By now they can reduce the use of nitrogenous fertilizer for leguminous plants are grown, as there is already nitrogen and already nitrogen fixing bacteria in the soil. Okay, and most of the pulses are obtained from leguminous plant, that you know. So in this chapter you have learned most of the plants are autotrophs, only a few plants are parasites or parasitic plants or ceptotropic, and they derive nutrition from other organisms, like in case of ceptotrophs they derive nutrition from the dead decaying decaying matter, you know. And all animals are categorized under heterotrophs, and since they depends on plants and other animals for their food. Okay, now can you say that insectivorous plants is partial heterotrophs? What do you think? Insectivorous plants is heterotrophs, partially heterotrophs. Can we say that? Can we say that? Yes, partially heterotrophs. As yes, they have chlorophyll, but they cannot prepare their food by the heterotrophic mode of nutrition. By the photosynthesis process, as they have small amount of chlorophyll, and they do not get the sufficient amount of nutrition. Whatever they need, they get it from the insects, as they are grown in some muddy areas where there is deficiency of some minerals, whatever required for them for their proper nutrition, okay, and growth. So they take it from the insect. So we can say that they are partially heterotrophs. Okay, now you understood? Partially, not fully. Okay, I hope you understood. Okay.